Right, this lesson is looking at interpreting box plots. And a box plot is also known as a box and whisker plot. You'll often see them described like that. Depends on the textbook really. But if you have a look, obviously this is the box and these sticking out the side are the whiskers. So that makes pretty much sense when you see it. I'm going to keep referring to them as box plots though. Alright, a box plot is a way that we can look at a spread of data, or look at the way it is spread across a certain amount of numbers. So what I've got here is really important. I've got the actual box part, we've also got a whisker, and we've got our second whisker, but also very importantly I've got here the scale. Now a box plot really can't tell us anything if it just looks like this, but if we can't see the numbers there, alright, this is just a weird box and whisker plot floating around. It doesn't mean anything. So these numbers are the important part. And what this is looking at a data set, and we're going to get some information from this data set. Firstly, this bit here, I'm going to change pens. This dot right on the end of the first whisker is the minimum. Alright, it's the smallest number that appears in the data set, and so that would make this one up here our maximum. I'm trying not to draw on the scale too much because what we want to do is actually try and read off what these numbers are. So in this case the minimum is sitting at about 7.5 and the maximum is sitting at, what do we reckon, about 15. So they're our first two. They're nice and easy. Smallest number, largest number. We get that. Alright, this one in here, where the middle of the box is, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the middle of the box. It's more where this center line, or this, I keep calling it the center, this line here inside the box. What that actually represents is the median of the data. In this case, our median in this box plot is about 10.5. So that's where that is coming from. And now we've got two more really important things we need to look at. Number one, where the box starts, and number two, where the box ends. And what they are going to show us is kind of at the quarters of the data. So if we look at this being the median, it means this is the middle of our data and everything back here is in our first half. If we look at the middle again and we move to this side, we're looking at the top half of our data. So that means if we are looking here at the ends of the box, we are looking at where the middle of the first half is, or the quarter. So this one we call Q1, or you might also call it quartile 1. This one here is Q3 because it's at sort of the 3/4 mark. Think of it like a game of football. This is the beginning, this is quarter time, this is half time, this is 3/4 time. Let's say we're playing AFL because they actually do it in quarters, and this is full time here. So if we are looking at Q3, we're looking at quartile 3, and that's like the 3/4 time there. Now all these numbers relate to something, and so just like we did with the minimum and the median and the maximum, we have to find what number this is sitting at. So this side of the box here, or quartile 1, is at 9, and quartile 3 is sitting at 13. So we have a lot of different bits of information here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in our next lesson we're going to look at all those 5 numbers, and it's called a 5-number summary. But there's something else we can gain from this kind of bit of the data, and it's called IQR. Just move the page across. When we talk about IQR, we are talking about the interquartile range. And what we're really looking at here is the size of this box. Oh, it's frozen. There we go. The size of this box here. Sort of the middle section of the data from quarter time to 3/4 time, if we want to talk about it like that. And the IQR is a different kind of range. If we had to do the full range of data, we would say maximum take minimum, but we are only trying to do the interquartile range. So to find that, we have to look at our 2 quartile values, and that would be saying Q3 take Q1. So in this case, our interquartile range would be 13 take 9, which is 4, which means half of our data in the center there is centered around 4 bits. Okay, it looks quite complicated, but it really is only 5 things to remember. So at the start of the game, or the start of the footy game, we've got our minimum, the smallest number. At the end, at full time, we've got the maximum. Halfway is our median, we know that one, and that's where that center line there of the box lines up. And then we've got our 2 box parts. So the start of the box there is our quarter time, it's our Q1, and the end of the box is our Q3. All right, they're the important bits to know to make a box plot.